Hello and welcome. Here's what's happening right now. An emergency alert after a deadly shooting on a Saskatchewan First Nation.
All day, Saskatchewan RCMP police officers have been actively searching for the two suspects.
The intense manhunt and orders to shelter in place.
There's no violence, there's no murder, there's no pills in case and all that.
A family's desperate search for answers after a Quebec couple is found dead in the Dominican.
Sorry, so you're calling 911 because you wanted to take a parking spot, but somebody else took your parking spot.
A little 911 fun as we round up the weirdest and wildest emergency calls.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
I'm Heather Butts in for Sandy. Tonight we begin with breaking news on a deadly shooting and the hunt for two suspects on Big Island Lake, Cree Nation, northwest of Saskatoon. RCMP say one person has been killed and the suspects are considered armed and dangerous.
At 8:23 a.m., Saskatchewan RCMP issued a dangerous persons alert to the public in the Big Island Lake, Cree Nation and surrounding areas. All day, Saskatchewan RCMP police officers have been actively searching for the two suspects. Officers are, as well, investigating the scene and interviewing witnesses to determine whether the shooting is random or targeted.
CTV's Allison Bamford is following the story in Prince Albert for us. Allison, what more can you tell us?
Heather, RCMP say 3 others were also injured in this fatal shooting. To what extent, we don't know. And Mounties are still searching to identify the suspects. Right now, all we know is that 2 armed men are considered suspects. They were last seen on an ATV on the Big Island Lake Cree Nation earlier this morning. Now, the shooting was reported to RCMP around 6 o'clock this morning, and 2.5 hours later, that's when the Mounties issued an emergency alert for the First Nation and surrounding area, spanning from west central Saskatchewan into Alberta. Those under the alert were advised to find a safe location and stay there. Now, we spoke to the head of security on the First Nation. He told us that he was advised at 6:30 this morning to lock down the reserve. Now, we know both gates on the roads that go in and out of that First Nation, they've been closed, only allowing emergency personnel to come in and out throughout the day. RCMP say they're still assessing the situation and monitoring whether or not they need to have that alert still in place. They're taking into consideration things like how much time has passed since this morning's shooting. We know that the shooting was also contained to one location, and there have been no other injuries reported since. Heather?
All right, Allison, thank you for this update. Winter weather continues to wreak havoc across parts of Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada. CTV's Sarah Plowman is in New Brunswick, where freezing rain and snow is causing collisions. Sarah.
Heather, here in Fredericton, work crews had their work cut out for them dealing with all this ice left from the storm. Buses were back on the road after service was suspended last night because one bus crashed with passengers on board. A Fredericton city bus landed in a ditch after it slid off a road in slippery conditions, snapped a power pole and flipped on its side. About a dozen people were on board. Police say 7, including the driver, went to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. CTV News spoke with one passenger who says he helped others get out through the roof of the bus.
There was 2 people that I had noticed were in very, very bad shape and definitely needed medical help right away.
It was one of dozens of collisions in New Brunswick yesterday. Today, sidewalks were more like skate paths.
If you're not used to the ice here, you're probably going to fall.
Each step required caution. Very icy. Yeah. Much of eastern Canada has been hit with winter this week. Snow, ice, and freezing rain. An hour west of Waterloo, people faced blizzard conditions.
This storm has been around a long time, came Sunday, and here it is Tuesday. We're still talking about it.
In Timmins, people felt the weight of winter, heavy snow, and now extreme cold, with many highways closed. Back in the Maritimes, weather canceled ferry service as snow squall alerts are in effect for parts of Nova Scotia. Here in Fredericton, icy conditions are likely to persist, but city crews continue to sand and scrape the ice away. Heather.
Sarah Plowman in Fredericton, thank you. We are hearing from the family of a Quebec couple found dead while on vacation in the Dominican Republic. CTV's Caitlin Wilson has more on their questions and search for answers.
For Alain Noel and his wife Christine Sauvé, it was a dream home in Villarriba in the Dominican Republic where they planned to retire. It's where they were spending the holidays when they were found dead on Boxing Day.
We're like in a big shock, everybody here, and I don't know. It's hard to go day by day, but we're trying.
Christine's brother, Gilles Sauvé Jr., says the couple was discovered in their bed by their adult son, who had traveled there for Christmas. He says his sister felt unwell the day before she died, lightheaded enough to go to the hospital for blood work.
She was supposed to come back the day after because it was almost everything closed there, but they didn't pass the night, so both of them.
Sauvé is now in the Dominican Republic with the couple's 2 children, waiting for autopsy results that could take up to a month.
There's nothing that is close of being suicide or a murder or a violence or something like that. There's a sickness, there's something there, but we don't know what.
Global Affairs Canada confirms to CTV News it is aware of the deaths of 2 Canadian citizens and says consular assistance is being provided, but no further details are being released due to privacy. Despite that, Sauvé says he has not been able to speak directly with local police or Canadian officials.
That is the big wish, yeah, for sure, to have a little bit more help that's on this side here.
Back home, the family is well known in Gatineau for years of community involvement, including fundraising for Ottawa's Children's Hospital CHEO and close ties to the Gatineau Olympiques, which issued a statement offering its condolences. And as they wait for answers, Sauvé says the focus now is on bringing the couple back to Canada.
They're a good family of 4, very tight family, very nice family. It's everything.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News, Ottawa.
The FBI says millions of dollars worth of motorcycles have been seized by Mexican authorities linked to Canadian alleged drug kingpin Ryan Wedding. CTV's Judy Trin is tracking the latest on the investigation for us this evening. Judy.
Heather, I spoke to 2 former FBI special agents who hunted down fugitives and asked them what information can be gleaned from these motorcycles. Dozens of high-powered motorcycles worth an estimated $40 million seized in a joint operation by Mexican authorities, the FBI, the RCMP, and Los Angeles Police. Authorities say the collection belongs to Canadian fugitive Ryan Wedding. Each bike contains valuable clues.
Determining the flow of his supply, the flow of, his income, his drug supplies, his narcotics, of how it's being transported.
Earlier this month, the FBI released a new photo of Wedding. It's believed the former Olympic snowboarder is being hidden by the Sinaloa cartel.
Sinaloa has been undergoing a real attack on their power and their ability to protect Wedding, consequently, is starting to crumble.
Analysts say that after the Trump administration declared drug cartels terrorist organizations, Mexico increased its efforts to ferret out Wedding, prompted by watching the U.S. attack Venezuelan drug boats.
This is something they would not have done before the United States declared that the cartels were terrorist groups, because they didn't have to. But now they feel the threat of the possible attack by the United States.
About 30 associates of Wedding have already been arrested, including Wedding's Toronto lawyer, Deepak Paradkar, accused of counseling suspects to murder an informant. The U.S. wants him extradited. Paradkar was granted bail last week because of health concerns.
Obviously, we've seen in the movies, and it's true, they're going to, take out, execute, kill any individual who could potentially become an FBI informant. If they're under investigation, they're being extradited to the United States, that's a risk to them.
Ryan Wedding has been on the run since 2015. Not only is he considered the biggest cocaine trafficker in Canada, he's also accused of 4 murders in Ontario. Heather.
Judy Trin in Ottawa this evening. Judy, thank you. A new search is getting underway for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, which vanished without a trace more than a decade ago, with 239 people on board, including 2 Canadians. CTV's John Vanavali Rao has more on the new tech being used in the search.
The newest search is taking place far out off the coast of Western Australia, with Ocean Infinity, a British-American deep-sea robotics company, using underwater drones that can dive up to 6 kilometers below the surface in the hopes of finally finding Malaysian Airlines 370.
There's reason to be hopeful. They're using the newest technology. They're at a good time of year, and they know where they have searched previously.
The Boeing 777 jet took off in 2014 on a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. On board more than 200 passengers, including this pair of Canadians. The last thing heard from the plane was sent to air traffic control 38 minutes into the flight.
Good night, Malaysia, 370.
Radar showed the jet made a sudden turn to the west, then south over the Indian Ocean, never to be seen again. Though debris washed ashore on a French island and along Africa's east coast. For relatives of the missing, not knowing what happened for the last 11 years has been agonizing. There were theories about pilot suicide, a fire, or hijacking, but nothing's ever been proven. Zhang Hu lives in Beijing. His mother was on the plane. He says finding that jet, his loved one, and the truth are things he must do in his lifetime. Previous searches, including by Ocean Infinity, were all fruitless. But now the company's zeroing in on 15,000 square kilometers of seabed.
They're looking at just 15,000 square kilometers compared to 250,000 square kilometers that they already searched. So they seem to think that they have a good idea that it's here.
Still, it's not clear why the company is searching that area now, with it only getting paid if the wreckage is discovered. As for the plane's black boxes, even after being underwater for more than a decade, experts say if found, the data on them should be retrievable. Heather.
CTV's John Vanavali Rao reporting in Toronto. Coming up. What happened to this driver going the wrong way on an Ontario highway? A driver was captured on video going in the wrong direction on an Ontario highway. This video posted to social media was taken early Monday when the driver was spotted traveling against traffic in the far left lane of a highway in Kitchener. Another driver is heard honking as they pass by. It's not known how the vehicle ended up on the wrong side, but no crashes were reported at the time of the incident. A warning from police departments across the country as they prepare for New Year's Eve. In Newfoundland, some officers making their presence known a little bit early. CTV's Garrett Barry joins us from a police check near St. John's. Garrett.
Heather, the officers here are searching for any signs of infractions. In fact, they have actually found a couple today. But this is also a show of force to remind drivers that police will be active tomorrow night.
So our presence in the community, we're hoping that deters impaired driving. We're hoping that everyone complies. As it's a good reminder just before the New Year's Eve.
As drivers pass police officers near St. John's, they're getting a reminder from MAD Canada to drive responsibly and soberly during the holiday season.
Thank you for driving sober. We do appreciate it.
According to a study by the Traffic Injury Research Foundation, attitudes on drunk driving across the country are loosening. More drivers, when asked this year,
any alcohol for yourself today?
Say they have gotten behind the wheel after consuming alcohol. That number is up to more than 15%. And fewer Canadians surveyed said they felt drinking drivers are a serious problem.
There's no excuse now for drinking and driving. There was never an excuse for drinking and driving, but even less so now. We've got so many other options.
Martin Wiseman says between taxis and ride-sharing apps, it's never been easier to find a sober and reliable ride home.
Thank you. Happy New Year. The attitude is, oh, it's Christmas, have a drink. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. We're not saying don't have a drink. What we're saying is make a sensible, safe choice, and if you're going to drink, don't drive.
Numbers gathered by Statistics Canada show police reported fewer impaired drivers in 2024 when compared to previous years. That number has been slowly falling since 2020.
The message from the Mad Canada volunteers and officers here: plan ahead and be safe and careful tomorrow evening. Heather.
Garrett, thank you. Still ahead tonight, a look back at Canada's immigration changes and what it means for the country going forward. Canada is slowing the flow of immigration into this country with cuts to the temporary foreign worker and international student programs. As the new federal government takes a tougher stance on the issue, CTV's Adrian Gobriel looks at the backlash and the consequences that have the country charting a new course.
Canada's once ambitious immigration targets have led to a hard landing.
We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years.
The former Trudeau government acknowledging they made some mistakes. In 2022, Canada welcomed more than 405,000 newcomers, with plans for 465,000 permanent residents in 2023, 485,000 in 2024, and 500,000 in 2025.
Did we take too long to adjust? I think there's some responsibility there.
The government eventually reworked its plans to decrease its target to 395,000 permanent residents this year, while lowering that number even more over the next 2 years. The about-face set in motion a seismic shift in Canada's immigration policy that has played out over the last 12 months.
We've got this huge influx of people on Canadian soil expecting permanent residence who won't get it.
The number of international student visas were slashed this year, leading to college and university program cancellations and sweeping job cuts.
We're seeing one of the largest mass layoffs in Ontario's history.
A cap on international student permits that began in 2024 and into 2025 will see a further reduction in 2026. As Frost Weeks rolled onto campus this year, international students were taking note.
A lot of international students dream of studying abroad. I have a sister. She might be wanting to study abroad, and caps like this are affecting her.
It's a concern shared by Canadian university executives.
60% decrease in the number of new students approved to attend Canadian universities in the first quarter of this year. They, in fact, help pay for more spots for Canadian-born students to attend university because international students pay higher tuition fees.
Ottawa put a limit on foreign students in part to help ease the pressure on the cost of rental housing while trying to reduce the burden on hospitals and other public infrastructure and social services. Citizenship Canada says its aim is also to create a pipeline of international student graduates whose skills match the country's long-term economic and labor needs. Adding eligible fields include healthcare, social services, education, and the trades. In his first news conference in May following the federal election, newly minted Prime Minister Mark Carney pulled in the reins on immigration even tighter.
We will return our immigration to sustainable levels by capping the total number of temporary workers.
That led to an outcry from some labor groups, even a lawsuit against the federal government, filed by a conglomerate of Quebec-based businesses who claim they're losing money and now unable to fill vacant job postings.
These companies either have to slow down production, refuse contracts, and in certain cases, they will even close down certain shifts. We can think of weekend shifts, night shifts, because we can't find the workers that we need.
The Carney government has pressed on, promising to cap the level of foreign workers and international students by less than 5% of the country's population. The 2025 federal budget highlighted that in 2018, 3.3% of Canada's population were temporary residents. By 2024, that number had more than doubled to 7.5%, an unprecedented rate of growth that put pressure on housing supply, the healthcare system, and schools. Canada's new government recognizes that this system is no longer sustainable.
We will work to attract the best talent in the world to build our economy.
The recent spike in the country's population has in part resulted in nearly zero GDP per capita growth over the last number of years, meaning the slice of the economic pie is getting smaller for each Canadian. A country built on the back of immigration has now recalibrated as it charts a new course into an uncertain economic future. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
After the break, not your average emergencies.
Unfortunately, just to get a Hornet out of your apartment is not going to be a police issue.
Some of the worst 911 calls of the year in BC. It's that time of year when organizations take a lighthearted look back at the best and worst of 2025. And that includes 911 calls. CTV's Andrew Johnson is looking at the most unusual and downright silly supposed emergencies in one province. Andrew, plenty of examples here of times when you should not pick up the phone.
Heather, we're taking a listen to some of the actual 911 audio as the patience of call takers is put to the test when they realize these calls are anything but emergencies.
911, do you need police, fire, or ambulance?
At British Columbia's busiest 911 dispatch center, every call could involve a life or death situation.
We can have anything like stabbings or shootings, assaults, very high priority calls.
And every call could also be a big waste of time.
Okay, so you landed at the airport and then you're trying to get into your Airbnb, but the door is locked. Are you safe right now? Okay, well, unfortunately, because it's not an emergency, we won't be able to assist you with it.
ECOM in BC handles more than 2 million 911 calls per year. Its target is to answer 95% of those calls within 5 seconds.
911.
So they'd rather you not call if someone stole your parking spot.
Sorry, so you're calling 911 because you wanted to take a parking spot, but somebody else took your parking spot, but then you saw that this person wasn't going into Starbucks, they were actually using that parking spot to go into Fraser Mart.
Don't like your haircut? Take it up with your stylist.
What are you wanting police to do?
If you're being harassed by a hornet, call the exterminator, not 911.
Okay, are you, safe, I guess, besides the hornet being there?
When it feels like gridlock is going to be the end of you, resist the urge.
You don't call 911 for a traffic report. That's inappropriate use of this.
Finally, it can feel life or death if you're about to miss your flight, but first responders can't do anything about your oversized carry-on.
Well, unfortunately, the police can't help you with that. If that's the rule of the airline, you have to follow the rule of the airline.
Honorable mentions this year go to the person who was looking for emergency help when their dishwasher wouldn't work, and the caller who was upset Walmart wouldn't allow them to return their air fryer. There's always 2026. Heather?
Yes, there is. Andrew, thank you. That is our newscast for this Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. I will be back with CTV National News at 11 for ongoing coverage of Canada's top stories. Tune into CTV News Channel. I'm Heather Butts. Your local CTV News starts right now.